Hi again, Mark here from Talking Bass. Today we're going to look at ghost notes. It's those muted, dull thuds that you can play in funky bass lines to add a little momentum into proceedings. We'll be using an example riff taken from the 25 Bass Groove Challenge over at the Talking Bass website. This is available to anyone that signs up to the Talking Bass website, which is a totally free membership, so that's totally free. You just sign up with your email and a password and gain access to a ton of free downloads, ebooks, forums and much more. The 25 Bass Groove and Slap Groove challenges are there in the practice room, so if you want to work on this groove and 24 others in a progressive order, just sign up for free and dig in. Okay, the riff is 116 beats per minute and it sounds like this. So let's first work through the notes in there. Don't worry too much about the ghost note technique for now. We'll dig a little deeper and perfect that side of the riff after. So we're in D minor, and for the first bar we have. So the rhythm here is going to be 16th notes for the first two beats, so 1 E and a 2 E and a, and then the final two beats is 3 and 4 and, just 8th notes. So we begin with two ghost notes, so two 16th notes there. Okay, so that's that dull thud. So we're just laying the hand lightly across the strings to get that sharp, dull thud there. Okay, so we've got 1 E, so we've got... Then we've got G to A, hammer on, 5th to the 7th fret on the D string. So we pick the first note, the G, and hammer on with the A. Now, you can use your first and third finger for this if you want, or you can use the first and fourth fingers. I prefer using the first and fourth fingers because of the home position that I'm going to show you in a minute. So, then we've got two C's there, 5th fret on the G string, and then two ghost notes again. So then two ghost notes on the D string, and then we just have F, G, C, D, so 3rd fret and 5th fret on the D string, and then the A string. So, okay, and each one of those is played fairly staccato, so we're not playing like that, we're not having held notes, it's fairly short. Okay, so very slowly, 2, 3, 4, even slower. Then the second bar is almost the same. But when we get to the end, after the F, G, instead of playing C, D, we just have two ghost notes on the A string, 16th notes again, and then we finish on the D, 5th fret of the A string. So instead of the C, we're playing two ghost notes, basically. So both bars together, 3, 4. So just a little word of advice on the picking hand. We've got a fair bit of alternate picking in here, but I'm starting on the first finger. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So we've got, so for the first two ghost notes, I'm playing 1, 2. So then I'm picking with the first finger for the G, which we then hammer on. So then obviously we're going to be playing alternate picking on that top. So which we can play 1, 2. Then again, the two ghost notes, again, 1, 2. And then for the final 4 notes, you can either play them all with the first finger, or I tend to sometimes play 1, 2, and then 1, 1. Either way, it doesn't matter because you're just playing basic 8th notes. But then when we come around to the second bar, again, we're going to be starting on that first finger. Okay, now let's dig a little deeper into those ghost notes. Now, whenever I talk about ghost notes on here, or in courses over at the website, I always talk about something that I've personally named home position. This is a very popular way of playing that you'll see in nearly every professional bass player out there, but I've rarely seen it talked about with any kind of name, and that's probably because it's just such an elementary aspect of playing. Most experienced players don't even think about it. So, what is home position? Well, at its core, we are basically working from a starting point of silence. So we've just got the hand there and we've just got it held against the strings so that no matter what happens, we're locked down and we're not going to get any of this. We've just got a nice, silent, locked down, muted bass. And whenever we're going to play a note, we're going to start with that home position and then allow the notes through, then to choke them off, we're going to return to home position. So this is going to be our point of silence. It's going to be our muted position that we're also going to use for ghost notes. So to begin with, let's just try getting into home position, and we'll play it here roughly around the 5th fret. So if you take the index finger, the first finger there, and just lay it down over the top of that 5th fret there on the the A, D, and G strings. So we're not pressing anything down here, you're just holding it lightly against the string, okay? And when you do that, you'll probably get some fairly muted harmonics, okay? Then take the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers and bring those down as well. And you'll notice that if you're in the right position, that these fingers will probably extend slightly past the strings. So they'll come a little bit past, over the neck, so they'll overshoot. So what you want here is not this. You don't want to be coming in at this angle. You want the fingers fairly parallel to the strings, okay? So you can do that by, well, you can gauge that by the pinky there, the 4th finger. If that one you can get parallel to the strings, then the others will follow. The thing that people do a lot of the time is that they'll look at maybe the middle fingers or the 1st finger, or they'll be playing as they normally do when you might have the hand like this, and then the pinky ends up back here. Well, we're actually turning the wrist so that everything is parallel to the strings. Now, in that position, you shouldn't get anything. You're just going to get ghost notes when you pick. Okay, so that's our starting position. When you plug in, if you're on stage, you've got a loud amp, stand there like this, you might have the volume turned right up, ready to play. Get in that position and you're not going to have any accidents. No matter what happens, if spill a beer on you, whatever it is, somebody comes up and plays a prank, whacks those strings, doesn't matter. You're not gonna get any noise. It's all locked down. So then when we want to play a note, if let's say we're in that position and we want to play a D at the 5th fret of the A string, all we have to do is press down with the index finger there and raise the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers and pluck. So we do all of that simultaneously. Okay? So there's no raising the fingers, then pressing down and then plucking. It's all one action. Then when we want to choke that note off, we go back to home position. Don't think bring the fingers down, release pressure, any of that. If you're used to the home position, you just return, okay? And another thing you can do with that finger is put it back on the string, so everything's locked down. So you're locking it down from this hand and from this hand. That means you've got this really great locked down, silent bass, and then when you go to play a note, everything's going to be locked down, okay? And keep that finger, the underside of that finger, just slightly held against the D and the G string when you do that, and that's going to lock down those upper notes. If you've got the thumb there on the low E string, it means that you're not going to get any residual noise. Now, that's the basics of home position, and I do expand on that in a lot of other lessons because we can talk about all different kinds of technique, playing different exercises down in this hand, slapping, it's great for slapping. But really for this lesson, all we're looking at is the ghost notes. Now, the beauty of that home position is that when we're in home position, we don't have to do anything. We just pick and we get the ghost notes. So if we go back to our riff, if you get in position there with that 1st finger over that 5th fret, let's say over the D and the G strings with these other fingers held down, I've got the thumb of the picking hand there basically on the A string and just leaning back onto the E string. Then we just pluck on the D string, and that's our 2 ghost notes. Then we can just go from that home position to picking the G and then hammering on, okay? Then when we come back to the ghost notes, we just go back to home position. So we're always working from this home position and this position of silence to then allowing the notes through and then come back to the home position. You don't want to, become lazy and then just, leave strings unattended to, residual noise coming through. Always have something locked, always have the strings that you don't want locked down, okay? So, okay? And then we just move the hand down, we're still in home position, and then when we actually play these shortened notes, we can again make use of home position. So if we play the F, when we choke it off, we move back to home position. So that's good practice as well. Taking a note, let's say the F at the 3rd fret of the D string, start in the home position, play, and then choke. You could maybe play 8th notes, 8th note on, 8th note off. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or staccato notes, very, very short. All I'm doing is starting in the home position, just stabbing at the note with that first finger and then just returning back to the home position. We barely come out of home position. You're pretty much staying in that position, but just very quickly allowing that note through. That's how you can get those little sharp staccato notes in there. So now if I work very slowly through that riff, you can see how there's very little movement in this hand. I've got this locked down home position all the time. I'm just moving it around the fretboard, and that's how you get rid of a lot of that movement. We're looking for economy of motion. Again, when we have the 2 ghost notes at the end, I'm in home position. And then we just allow the D to come through. So try playing that riff away from any clicks or drum tracks to begin with. Just learn it in your own time and focus on good technique. As your technique improves, your timing and rhythm will improve simply because you'll be more relaxed and confident, and you won't be hindered by physical problems or hesitation. So build up speed slowly, and then if you want, you can try playing along to the track. So that's riff 21 from the 25 bass riff challenge. The other bass grooves in that challenge work through a bunch of different techniques and time signatures. Remember, you can sign up to the Talking Bass website for free. There's no hidden costs. You just sign up to gain access to all the ebook downloads, bass challenges, forums, and more. The bass groove challenges are there in the practice room area. Then, if you want to go a little bit further, you can purchase some of the premium courses that deep dive into every area of bass playing, from beginner bass guitar to reading, theory, technique, and much, much more. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week.